Welcome to Extra Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
You join us again in a basement, on a couch. And apparently, the things that happened to us while filming was such a hit, you wanted us to do stupid stuff we've done while filming.
There were also more requests for us to do this intro, our favourite intros discussion, which we'll do another time.
Oh, yeah, okay. We do that.
But yes, this is the stupid stuff we've done while filming.
To recap, the previous video was stuff that's happened like at us, like we were passengers, things befalling us. These are bad choices that we've made.
It may surprise you to know.
So do you have the Tacoma on that list? You gotta type that in there. Just type that on in. We weren't technically filming, but it's worth telling the story again. Anyway, okay. So
we're not wicked smart.
No.
We make mistakes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they happen on camera and sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. This is a mixture.
By the way, there's probably 10 pages. This is just all we could think of right now.
We repressed a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. We are like, we're awesome. And so we don't remember the dumb stuff we've done.
The first thing, and maybe the dumbest, but maybe not, we had a Cybertruck from Tesla.
And that was idiotic. What were we thinking?
That was it.
Yeah.
Already stupid.
Yeah, no. Okay.
As you know from our Scotty videos, Car for Perverts. So we took this Cybertruck from San Francisco, Fremont actually, to Yosemite. Mm-hmm. And logistically we thought, okay, it'll be easier if the Airbnb we book in Fremont is our Airbnb for the 4 days while we go to Yosemite, and we'll leave some of the gear we don't need here. Yeah. And so we did that. And then what happened was 2 days later, we came back from Yosemite, and whoever the last person was that left the Airbnb just didn't close the door. So we came back.
All that doesn't mean didn't lock it.
It was wide open.
It was open.
We all had left for 2 days.
The elements.
In NorCal, and people who are from San Francisco are like, well, you got robbed. Somehow we didn't.
We didn't.
There was a breeze in the Airbnb, and all our stuff was still there somehow.
The door's just wide open for days. It was so stupid. And then
it continues.
This particular story continues.
Because we also, that night, we came back from Yosemite, we were so tired. These filming days take a lot out of us. Yeah. And then in the morning when I walked out to the Cybertruck, it was unlocked with the keys inside.
The keys were in it.
So we got back, we closed the door, fixed that, and then the whole night, anyone who walked up to the Cybertruck could have grabbed it.
You would have taken it, yeah. But they wouldn't, it would have been an error to actually take one of those, right? Who actually wants to own one? But I
loved kicking that car.
Yeah, it's great. That is definitely right at the top of dumb stuff we've done. Yes. Straight up leaving.
There's another thing that happened with Cybertruck.
Oh, yes.
we got to Yosemite, we were like, okay, we're about to do our long range test to see how it does on one charge. But before we do that, let's do a team photo. Yeah. You know.
And we were told that the tonneau cover was extremely strong.
It was strong.
It was strong.
We all stood on the tonneau cover. Actually, no, we've got this wrong. It wasn't us standing on it that broke it. It was you and I trying to ride it.
Because we're told you could.
Yeah, so we sat on the tonneau cover, and Thomas rode it, and I was like, what about both of us?
And then
it broke.
We broke it.
And then what happens is, if you haven't got the tonneau cover closed, you lose a lot of range.
Yes.
So our entire last bit of the video was screwed. But somehow, we kept turning it off and on, and
it worked again.
It somehow closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was dumb.
That was super dumb. This next one it's not like we had a choice on this one, but this is going way back, super early days Throttle House. Yeah. We live in Canada, and this is before we were traveling to make the videos. Before we were like, but what if we went to California?
Well, because we didn't have enough money.
We didn't have enough money.
So if videos cost us $50 and they made a couple of $100. So going to California was not a thing.
So we filmed this. What was it? A Golf GTI? It was a GTI.
It was a Mark 1.
Mark 1 GTI.
Yeah. Well, weren't they all?
No.
Rabbit.
It was the video on the Rabbit.
Yes, it was the cornflower blue Mark 7.5 Golf GTI.
Yes, and then in the sketch, James was disintegrated by Thanos, by the Infinity Stones.
I like that intro.
It was a fun sketch. Anyway, it's not really that apparent in that video, but it was the coldest air temperature I may have ever experienced.
Yeah, it was
in
like
Ontario.
minus 36.
Yeah, it was and for some reason that one little area we were in was so dangerously cold, and we were so hell-bent on getting the shot of us like walking up
without
with, like,
jackets on.
without jackets on, our vests and our like 70s clothes, that we almost got hypothermia.
Yeah, we had to keep running inside to warm up, and then
They were like
give it
shivering for 10 minutes and then going out and doing another take. And that was just stupid. We could have just not done that sketch, but here we are.
As we know, things happen while you're driving a car. Nothing's happened to me, but Thomas broke a Land Cruiser. Yeah. Oh. Oh my God. So really what they've done with the drive connect
Yeah, I know,
on the
it's,
interior here is... it was not on purpose.
No.
It was really stupid.
It was just stupid. Like, yeah, if it was on purpose, it wouldn't even be in this video.
Well, people were like, well, why have you got 3 camera angles? And it's like, well, because we had that for every hill, because every hill was quite scary.
Yeah.
And then this one, it just
Also,
really...
that particular one, we knew it was going to be steep, and we knew it was going to... I thought maybe that the Land Cruiser was going to, like, get to the top and then have to, like, struggle, and, it's going to be dramatic. So I just gave it a bit of extra juice. And, yeah, it jumped in the air. I mean, it didn't jump. I jumped it accidentally.
It might have been something... I've read it about... It's a witch's eye. Not a whispering eye, but the witch's eye. It's those sort of hidden bits on the dunes that you expect to be. It may or may not have been. That is a thing in the dune, but I don't know if that's what we hit.
Yeah, basically, I've told the story before. Long story short, there was a smooth ramp of sand, and it actually wasn't a smooth ramp. It was a collected bowl of sand at the bottom, and it was essentially a little L, or a big L, I guess. So
it was a big L in the end.
I drove into it very quickly because I thought I was going to like have to get up this long hill, but I just hit the lip with the front tires, and at the speed I was going, it went kaboom and bounced us into the air spectacularly, and we broke the Land Cruiser.
But then it fixed itself.
Magically.
Okay, so there's other stupid moments. Things that we don't even think are stupid, even to this day.
Yeah, so Bronco Raptor. You may have seen the video we did, the launch of that in Johnston Valley. Our sketch for that video was, again, James was going to drink his own pee. Because whenever we're in a desert, James drinks his own pee, and he brings it with him. We don't know why. Anyway, we did this montage where I had this shot in my head. I probably saw it in a movie or something, where we were walking from a really long distance and you kind of just like fade in between.
Yeah, every film does that in the desert where you sort of get closer and closer.
Just to show the passage of time and distance.
But we committed.
And so we walked like 10 minutes into the middle of and it was hot.
Yeah, but unlike the golf day, it was the other way. It was boiling.
Yeah. And so we were walking at the camera for quite a while, like 10 or 15 minutes of walking. And
this was an official Ford event.
Yes.
And we had told them what we were going to do, and they were a bit worried.
But by the time we got to the end, we were acting that we were like heavily dehydrated and like we're covered in dust and dirt. We, got dirt on our shirts and stuff. We were kind of like doing this. And the medical team saw us and thought that we were actually passing out.
Over the hill, these medical vehicles.
They come flying down the hill.
Water in hand, if you're all right.
We're fine. They're like, you think you're fine, but you're not. You're delirious.
Yeah.
So we accidentally called the entire Ford Bronco Raptor launch medical team on us.
Because they don't want that. They don't want that on their record.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Fords, I did spin in a Ford GT. All the way to the red line. Oh shit, oh shit. It wasn't my fault. It was.
No, it was literally your fault.
We didn't know that the tyres were that old.
No.
There was literally, it must have been an oil slick, because that bit, or the rest of the day was always very slippery.
Yeah. Actually, if you go in the video and you watch again, you can see me almost lose it.
Yes, in the exact same spot.
I'm just a better driver, so I held it.
No, not true.
Just a little bit opposite luck.
Way slower.
Just a little bit opposite luck.
Way slower.
I'm just saying, just a little bit opposite luck.
Just show me how you do it again.
Just a little.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so see, he spun out, and almost again, our reaction to that wasn't fear for our own lives, because I mean, it would have hurt.
Yeah.
Like it would have hurt, but it wasn't going to be like a lethal accident.
It would have been like a really heavy tank slapper feeling.
Yeah. We were almost close. Our worry was that we were going to write off this car. We came so close to the wall.
It's only 4,000 Ford GTs from that era.
Yeah, like we
didn't want to make it 3,999.
The tire marks, and we kind of measured like how far back the rear part of the quarter panel reaches past the rear tires, and like we were like this far from the wall.
Yeah,
like at sort of a high speed,
spinning. The dumbest thing we did that day was not have the camera on the car as it was happening.
We should have. Yeah.
So that's the Ford GT. There was a Maserati Gran Turismo that we borrowed from Maserati of Toronto. The man who lent it to us, who works there, no longer works there. Not for this reason, but it just means that he can't get in trouble for lending us a car. That's all he did. When we mount audio and cameras to get the engine sounds, we open the bonnet. We had opened the bonnet. One of us, not saying who, Harrison, had closed the bonnet but not fully latched it on one side.
Yeah.
We then they went for a drive.
Yeah.
The bonnet went whoosh.
Yeah.
And twisted on this $330,000 Gran Turismo. And it came back twisted.
Yeah.
And what did we do? Did we sort of just pressed it down and
we like made sure
got on with it?
Made sure the things clicked, filmed the rest of the review, and said, "We're sorry, we'll pay for it."
But there was a curve.
Yeah.
But I think they fixed it quite easily, and it wasn't expensive, so we didn't get a bill.
Yeah.
When this one going way back again, Thomas. Honestly, people accuse us of like, oh, you guys, you're a couple, and we're not. We are separately married.
Yes. So this.
But Thomas was quite lovey-dovey at the beginning, quite romantic with me.
No, I wasn't. Okay, you're banned from telling the story.
No, you said you loved me on the phone.
Okay, that was an accident.
He said, love you, bye. It was an accident. You can't just drop the L word.
I was just talking to my wife, and then she
said, love you, bye, and hang up. And then I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm ready to say the same thing. But anyway, a couple of months later.
Let me tell a story.
Okay, as long as you remember it. I'll only get involved if there's inaccuracies.
No, I absolutely remember this because it was burned into my head. So, again, back in the day, there was no Karston, there was no Dan, there was no Joey. There was actually early days, we just brought Harrison out to drive the camera car. So it was just the three of us filming. And what we did back then was, since James is completely inept and incapable of understanding technology, he couldn't operate cameras. So I had to shoot the B-roll of me driving, which means that we had to make his hands look like my hands. So I would, after he did this, I'd give him my watch, I'd give him my rings or whatever it was.
Because Thomas accidentally mugged Esmeralda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, as you can tell.
These are from my travels.
Yes, she was also a traveler.
Yeah. So anyway, I had a wedding ring. I was freshly married. Thank you. And I'm still married, by the way. I hate wearing it.
Yeah, I don't wear mine either.
So I had it, and I had to put it on James's finger. So we do the quick changeover, right? So we're standing on the side of the road, and facing each other, and he'd already had my watch on. And at this moment, Harrison happened to be standing right in between us.
Officiating, really.
Officiating, yeah. He was standing like this in between us, and we're here.
I got my finger out.
James had his hand out, and I placed the ring on his finger as a lady drove by and did the biggest double take you've ever seen. Side of a road in the middle of nowhere. Two men getting married, and she's like, "There's nothing wrong with that." And she drove by. Right, so
I'm just gonna say the event happened in order. He said he loved me, and then he put a ring on it.
And as soon as we nothing occurred to us until we saw her look at us, and then we realized what was happening.
Yeah,
I've never laughed so hard in my entire life.
The next story involves one of our Willies.
What?
But fortunately, it's not on the same story. That is where the marriage ended. Unfortunately,
right. This is much later.
So while we were, so I think that might be my favorite one. The wedding.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Willow Springs is a fantastic.
Willie Springs, as it's called.
It's Willie Springs
today.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really great track. and it's got obviously it's a storied history. It's in films, and it's large, and it's in the desert, and there's
dangerous and cool.
jets that go over. However, there's no toilets that close. Well, they're close enough, but when you're on a filming day,
it's pee now, keep moving.
Pee now, keep moving.
Yeah.
And there's a ditch. Those who know the track, there's a sort of a dip in the ground by the start line, and that unofficially has become a place to do a wee-wee. I was doing a wee-wee, and you're not supposed to do a wee-wee there.
No, minding his own business. Yeah.
And I'm doing the whole wee, just there, just looking down. And I suddenly hear from up there, can you please do that somewhere else? And it's just the fire marshal, who's actually a lovely guy, just looking straight down at me. Just
holding it.
I was like, he was like, yeah, that's not the toilet. And I was like, okay.
Can I finish?
So yeah, I don't know how long he was there. I don't know how much he saw. I can tell you from that distance of like
not
15
much.
feet.
Not much, really. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you can see it from space. You certainly can't see it from 15 feet away. But yeah, that was a time.
I think you came back and you said, "Fire marshal, see my penis?"
Yes. Well. Yeah.
Oh God.
Trust me, he's held bigger hoses. Speaking of flippy floppy things, the M2 competition.
Yeah.
Great car.
Yeah.
Thomas decided, I'm a legend. I'm going to do a third gear.
Okay, let me tell a story. Let me tell a story. So this is really early on. By the time we started filming Throttle House, I could do a power slide in the car. I've got better over the years, just kind of as you do.
Seat time.
Yeah, seat time. It just happens. But this was one of the very first cars we filmed at our track, which, as Chris Harris found out, I might add, if you try and drift on the big, long back sweeper, where maybe you've seen me drift an E63S, or a CT5V Blackwing. It's a big, long drift. The exit tightens right at the very, very
Decreasing
end.
radius corner.
Kind of, yes.
You told me it was.
It is kind of, it's not in the way that people are picturing it, but basically it goes to a straight too quickly. And it almost caught Chris Harris out, actually. He did a little bit of a fishtail. I just want to point that in there. Because the M2, I tried to do a big third gear, and it's a really open corner, so you can't do a second gear slide. So you're going pretty quick to do a big smoky drift. So the M2 is a really angry little car, and when you're in a skid, you have to be very fast on the steering and the throttle, otherwise you'll just lose control. So I could do a slide in it, but third gear, maybe a bit out of my depth, didn't know the track very well, didn't realize that it tightened that quick right at the end, and I had to lift out of the drift, otherwise I was going to drift off the track. And I snapped the other way and spun off the track at the top of a third gear drift near the exit, which means I was probably going...
It was quick.
Probably like 140 kilometers an hour.
And it was a jumpy, spinny thing.
Yeah.
It was like
so I spun
bouncing. Luckily there was no wall.
sideways.
You're lucky there was no wall.
I don't know how I didn't flip the car.
Yeah.
But I did like 1,000 feet sliding on the grass.
We all watched it in slow motion.
Yeah, the car, it went sideways and there was a berm which could have caught it and flipped it, but it launched me in the air sideways. It kept bouncing and spinning. It was spectacular and potentially horrendous.
Barely did any damage to the car. It hurt the underside a bit, which we replaced.
Yes, we replaced some parts, and our friend Igor, who supplied us with the car, gave me an eye roll and was happy to have the parts replaced. So thank you, Igor, for being patient with that one. But that was dumb. That was real dumb. Yeah, I could have rolled a car like our second ever shoot.
Next one. I don't want to speak ill of the dead. But Greg, who was a previous team member, who's very much alive.
He's not dead, yeah.
But he has left us. He's gone back to the music industry and he's doing very well there.
Yeah.
And he actually still helps us time to time.
He does.
Because it was a very amicable departure. There was one moment where I wasn't feeling that amicable towards him, which is, everything about Throttle House is risk assessment. Doesn't need to be done. Is it important for the video? Otherwise, if you've watched the previous video, you can see how much things cost when things go wrong. So anyway, he put the GLS that we borrowed from a dealership into a ditch.
It was a very slow put into a ditch.
It was a snowy day.
If you don't know, in Canada, there's often very big ditches on the side of the road, but if there's enough snow, it just looks level.
Yeah.
And you don't know.
The trap, it's like the towel over the hole at the beach. Where you fall into the hole. You put the towel over the... Come on.
Oh, you mean like a...
Towel.
Over a hole.
Yeah, it's just a prank, bro. But this wasn't a prank, bro. This was a level bit of snow that was actually a massive hole. And I came back in the Alpina XB7 and I saw the GLS just...
This is an incredibly expensive SUV.
Brand new. I think it had like 600 kilometers on it or something.
So the best part about this is that he was panicking and I just said, don't worry, trust me. In 5 minutes, there will be a man in a pickup. We're in the country in Canada.
He's going to have
There'll
a
be
beard.
a man in a pickup
hat.
truck. He's been waiting for years to use the recovery kit that he bought at Princess Automotive in his truck to help somebody. Not seconds later, at least 3 guys were like, hey mate, you all right? You need me to pull out of the hole? And then, yes, we did need help, and they were so excited to help us.
And they pulled it out, and there was no damage.
Yes. And they got to tell their friends over beer later. They helped a guy, an idiot, in a GLS.
It didn't stick though, but we did name Greg Ditch that day.
Oh, that's right. We never committed
But it
to
didn't stick.
We just called him Ditch for
The
the whole
problem is
thing.
that some people get a nickname like that and they go, oh, guys.
Yeah.
Like, Greg was like really angry every time we said Ditch.
So we just
So
left
we
it
were like,
alone.
you know what?
Yeah.
So we don't need to be like that. And then there's the Tacoma.
Oh, yeah. This wasn't actually when we were filming, but it's worth saying. James wanted to do a little skid in the new Tacoma.
No, I didn't want to skid. I wanted to, it was a rear-wheel drive Tacoma. It was a rainy day. I wanted to test the limits of the rear wheels. So I just...
While turning the wheel in a corner.
No, I wasn't turning.
That's right. You weren't.
We
were in a straight and
I
you
was like, I'm just
spun.
going to take off traction control and I'm going to floor it just for a second. Just to feel it go like this so I know...
And I said, it has an open diff. Don't do that. Lo and behold, it didn't do a nice BMW M car rear end.
No, because it took a while to spin, so it built up speed.
It built up torque. And then at the top of the rev range, the boost came on, spun one wheel, sent us across 3 lanes of traffic.
No, it was 6 lanes.
6 lanes of traffic.
It was a double 3 lane.
Double 3 lane.
And
we were in the right.
Somehow, I got lucky in that the traffic lights had meant that our entire section was just us, even though it was full traffic both other sides. And we just started spinning all the way across the road.
Yep.
And
meanwhile, you were apologizing to me while spinning. Thomas, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was sorry. It was really stupid. And I honestly, in that moment, I was not worried about us again. I put you in danger, but I kept thinking that a mum and her child could be coming towards us,
stupid,
and the Tacoma would have ended them. So
somehow we hit no one or the curb.
Yeah.
Don't be James.
That wasn't James. It was.
It was Billy.
Billy.
Don't be Billy.
Billy.
Yeah.
But I got lucky that day.
Yes. Again, dumb things we've done.
Yeah, balanced out by my willy being seen by the fire marshal. That was the luck.
Yeah, that's right.
But
dear.
There's probably more.
There's so much more, but we just couldn't think. I
will say more stuff has happened to us than we've done. I think.
Yeah.
As a ratio.
Yeah.
But there you go. So we're not.
Maybe we'll do a part 2 because you know what? Like as soon as we turned the camera off, we were like, what about that time that you asked?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, true.
So, part 2. If you like this one, let us know.
It is fun to reminisce, though.
We've done lots of dumb stuff. So, you're welcome.
Extra Throttle.